Hi everyone, this is Ruchi Kulkarni and today we are going to do the poem The Trees written by Adrienne Rich, and this poem is in your English book The First Flight of Class 10th. The Trees is a poem that conveys different themes on various levels. On a superficial level, the poem contrasts the characteristics of man and nature. Man has confined nature within his four walls of the house. He has uprooted trees and kept them in pots to decorate his home. So, in this poem, the poet explains the struggle of the homegrown tree to move outside into the forest. While, on a deeper level, the trees in this poem metaphorically represent suppressed women who want to break free of the confinements of their homes. Therefore, this poem expresses the struggle for equality. Let's read and understand this poem in today's session, followed by the poetic devices and rhyme scheme. After that, we'll do significance of the title, message given by the poem, and the question answers related to it. But first, let's begin the session with its poet, Adrienne Rich. Adrienne Rich was born on 16th May 1929 in Baltimore, Maryland, US. She was an American poet, essayist, and feminist. She was called one of the most widely read and influential poets of the second half of the 20th century and was credited with bringing the oppression of women and lesbians to the forefront of poetic discourse. One of her notable works is Diving into the Wreck. She has been awarded with National Book Award in 1974, Bollingen Prize in 2003, and Griffin Poetry Prize in 2010. She died on 27 March 2012 in Santa Cruz, California, US at the age of 82. The trees inside are moving out into the forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. All night the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. The leaves strain toward the glass, small twigs stiff with exertion, long cramped boughs shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patients, half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters, in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The night is fresh. The whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. My head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Listen, the glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. Can there be a forest without trees? Where are the trees in this poem and where do they go? Let's try to find out the answers to these questions in this poem written by Adrienne Rich. The trees inside are moving out into the forest that was empty all these days. The poem begins as the poet says that the trees of her home are moving out into the forest. Now here trees inside means the plants that she has kept inside her home. Now what has happened in the current world is people are cutting the trees, but they want to decorate their homes with small plants. They want to make greenery available in the houses but not outside in the forests. So while they are cutting the trees outside, they are bringing the plants inside home. But plants are not supposed to grow inside home. They are supposed to grow outside in the earth, in the earthen soil, and make into a forest. So the trees which are planted inside the house are now realizing that they have to move out of the house and they have to go into the forest, because the forest has been empty all these days because of deforestation. Where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The poet wants to tell here that since the forest is empty, there are no trees, so the birds cannot sit there because they have got no trees to sit, no branches to sit upon. The insects have no space to hide, and no sunlight can form shadows because there are no trees. So the sun cannot bury its feet in the ground and form shadows. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. So now here the poet expresses optimism or positivity that the forest which had been empty for all these days and nights now will be full of trees by morning, because now the trees which are inside the house want to go out and fill up the forests. If we talk about the deeper meaning of this poem or this stanza, then we also come to know that the trees here has been metaphorically referred to as women by the poet. Because women have been enslaved, they have been kept inside the homes to do all the household chores. The women now want to move out of the houses and do something to the humanity. They want to give kindness and their love to the mankind. All night the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. The poet here mentions that all night the roots of these trees which are inside the home, they work and they want to disengage themselves, that is, remove themselves from the cracks which are there in the veranda floor. Because these plants have been kept in the veranda, they want to spread their roots, crack the veranda floor and go out so that they can make forest outside. The leaves strain toward the glass, small twigs stiff with exertion. The poet here says that the leaves of the trees strain towards the glass, means they are putting pressure on the glass windows. The small twigs stiff with exertion. The small twigs of these trees which are inside the house, they have become stiff and they are making their full effort to push against the wall and go outside. Long cramped boughs shuffling under the roof, like newly discharged patients, half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. The long cramped boughs. Cramped means restricted and boughs are the branches. So for so many days, the branches of these trees have been restricted for long. And now they have started to shuffle under the roof. That is, they have started to move under the roof like a newly discharged patient. A patient who has just been discharged from the hospital, who's still half dazed, that is, who's still not recovered properly, wants to move out of the clinic doors. That is, he is hurrying to go to his natural home. So in the line, like newly discharged patients, which says that it is a simile, here trees are compared to the patients, and thus it shows that it has a simile. In this stanza, there is personification done for leaves, twigs and boughs because they have been given human-like qualities. I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The poet here mentions that she is sitting inside the house and she has kept the doors to the veranda open while she is writing the letters. But when she is writing the letters, in those letters she is barely mentioning the departure of the forest from the house. She does not want to mention that the trees are leaving the house and going to forest. So these four lines tell us that the poet is very indifferent to the concept that trees should be grown outside. She knows very well that plants are not meant to be kept at home. Their natural habitat is a forest, but she ignores the fact and goes on living. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. It was a night time. The outside environment is fresh and the moon is whole. It is complete in the sky and it is shining in the sky. So the environment outside is very fresh and open. The smell of the leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the room. But the smell of the leaves of the trees that are inside the house and the lichen is a fungus that appears on the barks of the tree. It is green in color and it has a very peculiar smell. So the smell of the leaves and the lichen which are there on the trees inside the house reaches outside like a voice. It feels like the smell is like a voice which is yelling and expressing a desire for freedom from the boundaries of the house. The deeper meaning of this stanza can be explained in a way that the poet is indifferent towards the attitude of the society, towards women. She is indifferent towards the hard struggle of women to get their freedom, who want to break the rules and regulations of the society and make a mark of their own. My head is full of whispers which tomorrow will be silent. The poet here says that my head is right now full of murmurs of these trees. These trees are making noise, they want to go out. But these murmurs or these whispers will be silent tomorrow, because by tomorrow all the trees would have gone out and met the forest. Listen, the glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. Now the poet here wants us to listen to the sound, because now the trees are pushing towards the glass windows. They are trying to break the glass. The trees are tripping over. They are stumbling forward to go out into that night. And the winds that are blowing outside, they rush to greet the trees outside. They are rushing to welcome the trees outside the boundaries of home. The moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. The poet here says that the moon, which was full and complete, as she has mentioned earlier in the previous stanza, now seems like a broken mirror, because now the tree's branches have grown out and the shadows that these branches are casting, it seems as if the moon which is behind the branches of these trees is broken, because through the branches the moon can only appear like pieces, small pieces, like the pieces of mirror. So in this line there's a simile which is used where moon is compared to the broken mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. Oak is a tree which lives for many, many years, and it is tall, it is majestic, it is huge. So here, like the oak stands on the ground, and it seems as if it is wearing a crown on its head, because the moon can be seen through the branches of this tree, and so it looks like as if the oak tree has been crowned. The deeper meaning of this stanza suggests the successful struggle of women's freedom from the boundaries of house. This victorious march of the trees also gives us a message of hope that nature can never be tamed. It can never be held captive by the man. It will find a way to break all the rules, break all the boundaries, and become free. Let us now look at the poetic devices and the rhyme scheme used in this poem. The most important poetic device used here is imagery. Imagery are the words and phrases in the poem that create their visual representations in the mind, and it is done through the use of figurative language to create pictures and visuals in the mind. This whole poem creates visuals in our mind about the struggle of the trees. That is, the trees inside are moving out into the forest. The forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit. Like newly discharged patients, half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. And many more such examples are there in this poem. The next poetic device is simile. Simile is used to draw a clear comparison between two or more things or people having same qualities by using the words like and as. For example, like newly discharged patients, or still reaches like a voice into the rooms. The moon is broken like a mirror. All these lines show us the examples of simile. The next poetic device that we are going to talk about is repetition, where words or lines are repeated to emphasize a feeling or idea, create rhythm, and or develop a sense of urgency. The forest that was empty in the first stanza is repeated, thus creating repetition. Another poetic device that is used here is personification. It's a prominent figure of speech in which a thing is given human attributes. For example, how the trees, the sun, and the winds are shown as behaving like humans. The following can be the lines which show personification. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. No sun bury its feet in shadow. All night the roots work. Winds rush to meet them. Apart from this, in the second stanza, the leaves, twigs, and boughs have also been personified. The next poetic device is symbolism, where the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities is used. The poet in this poem uses the trees to connote the significance of forests and raise the issue of deforestation. At the superficial level, the trees symbolize the conflict between man and nature. And at the deeper level, the trees symbolize women who have been suppressed by the patriarchal society. The next poetic device is anaphora, where the first word in two or more consecutive lines is repeated. For example, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. In these lines, the first word no is repeated, hence it shows anaphora. The next poetic device used here is alliteration, wherein the beginning consonant sounds of two or more words is the same. Some examples of alliteration in this poem are long letters where l sound is repeated, sky still where s sound is repeated, and leaves and lichen where l sound is repeated. Talking about the rhyme scheme of this poem, no rhyme scheme is used here. Therefore, this poem is written in free verse. As the title suggests, the poem is about trees. It expresses how humans have destroyed forests and cut down the trees for their own greed and purpose. Humans have made trees confined to the four walls of their houses to fulfill their needs or to beautify their homes. The poet here says that the trees live in forest, so keeping them inside the home is a crime. The poem conveys the message that everyone has a deep desire for freedom. We must follow the rules of nature and should not try to overrule it. And as this poem suggests the struggle of trees to move outside the home into the forest, the title is aptly suggested. The message given by this poem is that freedom and equality should be for all the living organisms in the world. People may restrict others' freedom, growth, and development, but the one who is oppressed or enslaved will definitely break free from the confines and one day will always find its own place and space. So, both trees and women, as is mentioned here on superficial and deeper level of the poem's meaning, both trees and women sustain the environment and generations. So instead of enslaving them, we should help them grow. Just as trees are essential for environment, the same way women are also essential for the survival of the humanity. That's all in today's session, and now I'll flash the summary and question answers related to this poem. If you like my work, if you like my channel, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel and grow with me and learn with me. Do not forget to press that bell icon to get the notifications on time. I'll see you again in my next video. Till then, take good care of yourself and bye-bye.